Emperor Hirohito, posthumously known as Emperor Shwa, was one of the most significant and complex figures in modern Japanese history. He reigned as the 124th Emperor of Japan from 1926 until his death in 1989, overseeing one of the most transformative periods in the country's history, including Japan's militarization, participation in World War II, defeat and occupation, and its subsequent emergence as a global economic power. Early life and education. Hirohito was born on April 29, 1901, in the Aoyama Palace in Tokyo, as the first son of Crown Prince Yoshihito, later Emperor Taisho, and Empress Taimei. His given name was Mikonomiya Hirohito. As a child of the imperial family, he was separated from his parents at an early age and raised by court officials, according to imperial custom. In 1908, Hirohito entered the Gakushin Peers School, where he received an education intended for the nobility. His studies included both classical Japanese and Chinese subjects, as well as Western sciences and languages. He continued his education at the Central School for the Crown Prince, where he received extensive military training and instruction in statecraft and history. His tutors emphasized loyalty to the emperor and reverence for the divine origins of the imperial family, a concept central to pre-war Japanese ideology. Regent and ascension to the throne. In 1921, Hirohito traveled to Europe, becoming the first Japanese crown prince to visit the West. His 6-month tour of countries like the United Kingdom, France, Italy, and Belgium left a lasting impression on him and deepened his understanding of Western civilization and governance. Shortly after returning to Japan, Hirohito was appointed regent due to his father Emperor Taisho's failing mental and physical health. He effectively assumed imperial duties from 1921 until his father's death in 1926, at which point Hirohito formally ascended the throne and became Emperor Shwa. Shwa means enlightened peace in Japanese, a poignant, if ironic, title given the course of events during his reign. The militarization of Japan and World War II. During the early years of his reign, Hirohito oversaw a government increasingly influenced by militarism and ultranationalism. Japan's invasion of Manchuria in 1931, followed by the full-scale Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937, marked the beginning of aggressive expansionism in Asia. Historians continue to debate the extent of Hirohito's direct involvement in Japan's military decisions. Although he held supreme constitutional authority under the Meiji Constitution, much of the day-to-day power was wielded by military leaders and government ministers. Nevertheless, Hirohito was informed of and approved many military strategies, including the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, which brought the United States into World War II. The Pacific War saw Japan expand rapidly across Asia and the Pacific, but it also involved horrific atrocities, including the Nanjing Massacre and the exploitation of comfort women. By 1945, after a prolonged and bloody conflict, Japan faced defeat. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the Soviet Union's entry into the war against Japan prompted Hirohito to take an unprecedented step: the surrender of Japan. On August 15, 1945, Hirohito made a historic radio broadcast, the first time the Japanese people had ever heard the emperor's voice. In his speech, he announced Japan's surrender, citing the devastating power of the new atomic bomb and expressing his desire to avoid further suffering. This speech, known as the Gyakuan HS, Jewel Voice broadcast, marked the end of World War II and the beginning of a new era for Japan. Following the surrender, Japan came under Allied occupation, led by General Douglas MacArthur. One of the most contentious issues during this period was the status of the emperor. While some advocated for Hirohito to be tried as a war criminal, others, including MacArthur, believed his continued presence would help ensure stability and facilitate Japan's peaceful transition to democracy. Post-war role and the Constitution. In 1946, Hirohito issued the Humanity Declaration, renouncing the divine status traditionally attributed to the emperor. Under the new Japanese constitution, promulgated in 1947, the emperor became a symbol of the state and the unity of the people with no governing powers. This marked the end of imperial rule as a political force and the beginning of a symbolic, ceremonial monarchy. During the post-war years, Hirohito embraced his new role, appearing in public more frequently, meeting foreign dignitaries, and promoting scientific research, a personal passion. He became particularly known for his interest in marine biology, authoring several scholarly papers on the subject. Legacy and death. Emperor Hirohito reigned for 62 years, the longest of any Japanese emperor in recorded history. His era, the Shwa period, witnessed immense change, from imperial conquest and war to defeat, reconstruction, and economic resurgence. Japan transformed from a militarist empire into a peaceful, prosperous democracy. Hirohito died on January 7, 1989, at the age of 87. His death marked the end of the Shwa era and the beginning of the Heisei era under his son, Emperor Akihito. Although he remains a controversial figure praised by some for guiding Japan through its post-war recovery and criticized by others for his role during the war, his impact on 20th century history is undeniable.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.